Recognizes Mr. Lynch for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and welcome, Mr. Secretary. Good to see you. Steve Lynch, I represent the Port of Boston, and thank you for your recent visit. It sounds like you've been getting around to all of our ports. That's a good thing. First of all, I want to thank you for the support of the Biden administration and your office. Recently, we received $62 million to try to rebuild the terminals in Logan Airport. Those are 1974 era terminals, so we really appreciate the opportunity to update those. I want to also thank your office for working with us on the North Jetty. We have obviously one of the oldest ports in the country, and some of our infrastructure dates back to pre-World War I. So we're trying to repair that, and your office has been very, very helpful. In addition, we've had some problems with the MBTA recently, and the Federal Transit Administration has been very, very helpful in terms of coming in with guidelines that allow us to operate that system, not at full capacity, but safely. And we appreciate their thoughtful and deliberate approach to that. One of the other positions I hold is I'm a vice chair of the Quiet Skies Caucus. And so we're having difficulty in and around Logan Airport. Logan Airport was actually originally built in the 1920s by the United States Army. And they laid out the runways to favor the wind direction for those planes back in the 1920s that didn't have much thrust. So unfortunately, as the city has grown, those runways now steer planes directly over many environmental justice communities. And not only that, but with the advent of next-gen RNAV systems, we have thousands and thousands and thousands of planes flying over laser-guided air vectors over the same homes repeatedly, and it's causing health problems for the people in those areas next to the airport. Now, I have tried to persuade the FAA to look at an approach here where they would adjust the configuration of the runways. We have an entire port area where they could be bringing in flights and having flights take off completely over water, not flying over these densely settled, as I say, environmental justice neighborhoods. But I have had great difficulty in persuading them to do so. I'm wondering if your administration, your office, would be willing to work with us on that. We obviously have a great need in the area, but this is critical to the quality of life to the people in my district.
Well, I want to recognize your leadership of the Quiet Skies Caucus, and certainly we recognize that as the FAA moves to modernize the national airspace system, there is a risk that these efforts can result in changes to the flight pattern that effectively concentrate the route and concentrate the noise. And this, of course, concentrates the impact on the residents who live directly under them. I'd be humbled by attempting to venture anything specific to runway configuration. Here, I know that's very technical, often has to do with things like the direction of the wind and other engineering considerations, but certainly would welcome further dialogue with your office on how to make sure that those community impacts are managed as responsively as possible, and that any mitigations that can be identified responsibly are pursued. I know that the FAA has sought to add resources in terms of community engagement, and anytime that's found wanting, welcome the chance to work with the congressional office to try to firm that dialogue up.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Secretary. I just want to point out that periodically we do have to redo the runways. We just had one of the major runways redone over a year ago now, and we shut it down and we moved the flights to another runway. So logistically, we could do this if we had the. I've had dealings with the FAA, and in some things they're great, and on other things they're impervious to public input and impervious to congressional persuasion as well. So I'd appreciate your cooperation on that, and I'm thankful for the work that you've done in the Port of Boston, and I appreciate what the Biden administration has done as well. Mr. Chairman, I'll yield back.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chair recognizes Mr. Balderson for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and Secretary, thank you for being here. I was actually on the same flight to Columbus on Friday night with you, so it's good to see you going through the airport and getting on the plane, so thank you. I was a strong supporter of the Drive Safe Act, and I was proud to offer this bill as an amendment